and welcome to Off the Court. We join you again from, actually, where are you, Tamsin? Because I'm trying to look artistic and I think you're trying to out-artistic me.
I have come armed and dangerous today. I have this, I have a toy room handy. I am in our little playroom because Casey Jacks is still a fine member of my lockdown team.
Talk me through your art collection in Casey Jacks' bedroom.
Well, this is actually his playroom. They're very random prints, as you can see on there. A favourite, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's one Welcome to the Jungle at the end because that pretty much sums up my life. But the favourite one is always be yourself unless you can be Batman, then be Batman.
Right, I think that's a message we should all listen to. How are you, by the way?
I'm good, I'm coping with the lockdown. I'm on day 7 or something like that. I don't know, I've lost track, but we're all good here in sunny Sussex.
Well, if you thought they were words of wisdom, we've had plenty of words of wisdom this week from Norma Plumber. Now, I don't know about you, but I first discovered that Norma Plumber was joining in conversations on social media via Netball Scoop, I think, started retweeting some of them. It might be Chloe Merrill, started retweeting some of Norma's words of wisdom. Norma, of course, most recently has been mentoring Jess Thirlby, England coach, yeah. But she was, of course, before that, I was about to say famous for her dances and her musical interludes, but not just that, is it? She was famous, of course, for coaching South Africa to their highest ever placing, and before that with Australia too. She's a bit of a legend.
She is a legend. I've had a very interesting relationship with Norma Plumber over the years. I remember my first training session at the Firebird, she came in to do a session and proceeded to call me Candy for the whole session, thinking I was someone. Because there was another girl there called Candy.
Oh, right.
She also stated, I think after my first international appearance at Goal Attack, where I shot at something like 60%, that I was never up to international level. So me and Norma have had our ups and downs over the years. But she's an absolute legend, isn't she? And I thoroughly enjoyed her Twitter question and answer session the other day. I was fully involved.
Okay, here's what Norma had to say then. She was asked loads of different questions, but she was asked this by Michael, who we know talks a lot on social media. What's the best and worst thing about how the game's evolved over the last 20 years? Says it's far too technical on out-of-court throw-ins, and she doesn't like bonus points. So she's never going to get on with you then.
No, I'm with her on the bonus points. See,
right.
Me and Norma agree. Amazing.
Agreeing on that. She was then asked back to the 2018 Commonwealth gold medal, of course. Well done, England. We can't mention that enough times. Do you think Laura Geitz would have made a difference had she been left to complete the match? She was, of course, taken off, and she says, yeah, Geitz, the most experienced goalkeeper. You think maybe Australia would have won that had she still been on court, T?
I think the changes that Australia made throughout that and the World Cup, actually with playing the 2 different squads, was questionable for lots of different reasons. But, you know, Lisa Alexander had her reasons. I agree. I don't think Geitz should have been off the court. Whether they'd have won, who knows? But happy for us, right? So again, I agree with Norma. Come on, Norma.
We agree with Norma. I think that would be the phrase. She was then asked, and this is the one from Ranga Marie that says, what's your strategy to break open a tight New Zealand diamond zone defence? Talks about the full court press then creating the dummy leads to pull New Zealand. I mean, lots in this. What does she mean by this?
Well, actually, we picked out some clips to show and for examples of this. This is brilliant from Norma, talking about the dummy run. And what's really, really key is when New Zealand are playing this, and from this first clip, there's just like a wall of black. And I want you to keep your eye on Radham in the goal attack, who comes flying out in a minute when the ball is being played backwards. And as she flies out, it opens up wide to Bongi and Somi. And then she pulls again, which allows Pothita under the post. And this is so key. And if you watch all these clips through, it's the same thing. The drives from players make such a difference. So as Drea catches the ball in the second clip, Van der Merwe runs across. You see black dress players coming flying for the ball, and it opens up Bongi and Somi on the long. And that is how you open it up. This one dummy run just opens up, and you can see as they're playing the ball around, when nobody moves, it doesn't open. Radham opens up the space by her dummy run, and suddenly they are banging in the circle again.
Why is everyone not doing that?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, South Africa here playing at the Nations Cup, and they're under the influence of Norma Plumber. She wasn't coaching at this point, but she'd obviously had a lot of tactical influence in. It talks about matchups. The dummy run does work, but it doesn't work all the time. You've still got to have the offload. And interestingly, all these clips I picked were from the first half of that game against New Zealand. The game went on, New Zealand got savvy to it and started picking out those wider balls. And you need the accuracy to do it for a full game. So it does work, but it's one of many options to try and break through the zone.
Nicola then writes, who would you say is the best netballer that's currently still playing? And Norma went for Carla Pretorius. She right?
I agree with Norma.
Why?
Damn. Again, we've got some clips, examples from her of the Nation Cup. Probably wasn't her best performance. She'd had a break after the World Cup. I think she was in real form at the World Cup last summer. But just the way she's so tenacious, the speed and her athleticism. We've got her here picking up rebounds. I picked her second clip, her tracking against Maya Wilson. Again, Maya isn't really driving hard anywhere out the circle, but she still sticks with her. And then it's about her ability to switch and her reading of the game. She never gives up on stuff. So her final intercept is off a penalty, something where most defenders would have probably given up. It was probably the ball was going to get into a shooter. But the way she steps from one to another and the speed she has to go through, and I think that's the key. She is so quick off the mark. She's able to pick up all sorts of loose ball, and she is lethal.
I don't know about you, but I think we could do a regular What's Norma Saying This Week section. You up for that?
I love it.
Would you want her as your mentor?
Who wouldn't? I mean, that the lady has the most experience, doesn't she? She must be incredible. I think she'd be pretty straight talking. I think we probably have quite firm conversations. I'm not always sure we would see eye to eye. I'm not always sure I would always agree with Norma. But I love that. I think I'd love to be challenged by her because her record speaks for herself. What an incredible coach and an incredible opportunity for someone like Jess Selby to have her as a mentor.
All right, that is a little bit of something that you might have missed this week. Coming up next, though, we've got a bit of a treat for you. When 3 becomes 1, or something like that, maybe the other way around. We need a catchy title for it. I was going to go for Tamsin Greenway 3-way, but I don't think that
maybe
works.
not.
Let's
Whole
not
different
go for
headline
that. The United Media of Netball in the UK joins up as we find out and go into who is your team of the season. We're starting with defenders. That's coming up next. Use the hashtag #OffTheCourt. Well, what a delight this is via the medium of modern technology, so it could all go wrong. But don't worry, we've still got Casey with us, so he'll take over. From the Netball Show, Andy Lamb joins us. Hi, Andy.
Hello there.
Very exciting. Explain a bit about your background and where you are. Not your background as in your history, but where you are at the moment.
Basically, I'm in the northeast. I'm in Middlesbrough. So
I was giving you the perfect opportunity to tell us that you've got something signed by Tamsin Greenway behind you.
Well, I have. It's just over there.
Oh, all right. Well, we've all got something just over there. I tell you what else we've got just over there. From my Netball Nation, Sara Bayman, England captain, also joins us. Hello, Sara.
Hello.
Is that your office?
It's my office for now. This is my kitchen in Nottingham. So,
it's a nice window.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a good bit of light coming through. But yeah, this is about as exciting as it gets for now.
Yeah, I'm bored now. So let's get on. Let's get on with what we're doing. So over the next 3 weeks, it may look like we're all wearing the same clothes over the next 3 weeks, which is because we're recording all of them now. But what we're going to do is going to go through our defenders of the season, our mid-quarters of the season, and our attackers of the season. Each of the various netball shows has picked their own. I don't know whether you had to squabble between you all. Essentially, I just gave Tamsin the vote on this, so that's why I'm blaming her entirely. But we're going to start with defenders. Let's start with you then, Sara Bayman, always my England captain. Who would be your defender of the season and why?
Well, I mean, firstly, I would have loved to have been able to play 3 games and get a Player of the Season award, but that's a situation we're in. My defender of the season from Sirens. And I think my judgment was slightly skewed on all of the ones that I picked because you've obviously seen some players more than others. And we played against Sirens, and in the lead up to that game, we did in our scouting work, we talked a lot about Bimbela coming hunting for ball, not being afraid to leave the circle, winning ball all over that goal third. And yet we still fell into the trap of giving her ball and allowing her to win ball off us. So I think she's been doing a great job. I think Sirens, for the few games they played, looked pretty good. They definitely won enough ball to be in the game. And I think the defensive end was probably one of the pleasant surprises of the season.
So you're going for Bimbela. I'm going to tell you at the end which one I agree with out of you all. So I'm going to give nothing away now.
Deciding vote.
Yeah. Andy, be the rose between the two thorns.
Okay. I'm going to go with Lindsay Keeble, just for the sheer fact that she's been really constant since the start of the season. I mean, I could have easily gone for people like Hannah and Katie. Even Emma Dovey was nearly the choice, but the sheer fact that, given the fact that we've only had a limited amount of games, it's almost like we know what we're going to get with Lindsay Keeble. The clip that she had on Sky's Twitter as well, where she just like did a fake little tip. Moments like that, we're going to see a heck of a lot more over the course of the season. So my vote would be Lindsay Keeble on that.
I'm enjoying that, not least because there's a huge poster of Lindsay Keeble, not in my bedroom, but outside the local museum here in Chelmsford. She's a local hero. So I might be edging towards you, Andy Lamb, with that one. Back away now.
Yeah, what do you have to do to be a hero of Chelmsford?
Yeah, exactly.
FYI.
I'll have you know that this was the birthplace of radio, and we wouldn't be talking now without Marconi broadcasting from here for the first time. So take that, former England captain.
Sorry, people of Chelmsford. I apologise.
Thank you, and me, of course. Sorry, that was the right answer.
Hey, is your bronze statue not standing next to the poster?
I am bronzed, if nothing else. Tamsin Greenway, who have you gone for your defender of the season then?
Okay, well, mine has to be Raz Quashie. You know what I love about Raz, and I've said this year that players like her, players like George Fisher have to step up and own it, become those starting England players. And she's proven that in the game she's played so far. In that first game against Stars in round 1, if you take your minds back to Super 10, Stars were winning after that first quarter. Kat Ratnapala had some stern words to say to her team, not least Quashie. And Quashie came out and replied and answered. And it's not just about her athleticism, her reading of the game, her elevation, just her footwork. She actually starting to remind me of a young Jiva Mentor, the way she gets around the body, the way she comes onto it and takes ball cleanly as well. So I'm a real fan of Raz. I know she's going to get stronger and stronger. She's not the biggest goalkeeper in the league, but we're going to need a goalkeeper to take over the reins as Mentor. So I'm hoping that if she gets back in action, she will be the one.
Well, I mean, it's a bit hard when she's got an extra cheerleader going for her. So just to confirm,
seems like an unfair advantage for Tamsin.
Yeah, you've got yourself a baby, Sara.
There's time. Right, so Sara Bayman for My Netball Nation has gone with Vimbella. Andy Lamb of the Netball Show has gone with Lindsay Keeble. And Tamsin Greenway has gone with Raz Quashie. I'm not going to give you my decision. I'm just going to stay out of it. I know. I'm pleading some sort of amendment or something. Well done, everyone. That is then our defender of the season. You can get in on the conversation. Use the hashtag #OffTheCourt. Coming up next week, although we might still be in the same clothes, we will bring you our mid-quarter of the season. Thank you to My Netball Nation and to the Netball Show. Next week, we're going to look at mid-quarters then, almost getting towards your favourite position, although I know you could play centre, Tamsin, but we won't do that just yet. However, people are asking you for your skills, your tips, your tricks. This is the part of the show where we ask Tamsin. So what have you picked out this week?
Okay, so one question I thought we'd stick on the defensive team is if you're a goalkeeper or goal defence and you're playing against a tall goal shooter, how on earth do you win the ball? So look, I've been going on about upskilling and this is a perfect opportunity to do that. A, it's about your elevation. So I've got some jumping techniques for you to do, some plyometrics. And B, it's about making the attackers believe they can throw the ball. So giving that shooter a bit more space than you'd like to. Often coaches tell you to get tighter on. I'm not going to ask you to do that. We're asking you to come further off and thinking about the angle. So I've been very creative in my backyard and I've got a couple of examples to show you. 3 key things if you're a short goalkeeper. So first one, elevation. Second one, coming off the body slightly, making that feeder believe it doesn't need to go high. Third one, getting around and sweeping in behind, the Jiva Mentor move. Oh, and if you're lucky, borrow your Commonwealth Games leggings that you nicked off from Melda Aiken. So, first one really key, practice your elevation on an angle. Add in the ball. Okay, second one, make those attackers believe that you're coming off the body. So, I'll go this way this time, you're coming off, and then boom, coming off, get in, coming off, coming off. Okay, final one, get around and into lockdown position. So starting front, it's really key, you get all the way around, turn and slide in flat, angle, turn, slide in flat, angle, head up and slide in flat, and then improvise. Okay, so first thing, elevation, hold on an angle, coming off a little bit, then get up
Final one, on an angle, roll around behind.
That was Tamsin, as she put it, in her backyard. I'm saying it's more of an oasis that you've created there. One other one, Michael asks, how much effect will this break have on the teams and the season? Talks about Bath and Pulse flying Wasps, so not so much, he says.
Yeah, of course. I can't see the season being played out in its entirety or the way it was set up at the start anyway. The break is going to do teams like Wasps a world of good if they can get back and start training together. You know, one of Wasps' biggest problem is that their attack end was completely disjointed. They're going to need time. You've seen on social media players like Lexi Baker, Tamsin Morale have gone back home. As for Pulse, it will be again the opposite effect. They're doing so well. They're going to come up against some of the tougher teams. I think next in the round for them was Team Bath. They haven't yet been tested. Again, how much time are they going to have together? You have to remember these clubs don't have their own training venues. So even when we are allowed out of lockdown and they're back together, how long they're given before we come back into the season is going to be interesting. I think personally it's going to be a fresh slate and a fresh start for everyone if we get the Super League back up and running, which fingers crossed will happen.
You know, I'm so glad to see that Casey Jackson has woken up because it's his favourite part of the show. This is where we have a look at social and what else you've been up to. Yeah. So this is Loughborough Lightning captain Nat Panagari back doing some fitness work in her backyard, Tamsin. Great to see her back doing some training, albeit with the boots.
Amazing. And you know what? The virus and the lockdown is not great for everyone, but however, players coming back from injury, what a perfect opportunity to get back and in shape. And you know, for everybody that it's not working for, you know, it's great to see players like Nat Panagari given time. So if we do get this season back underway, or even if the international window continues, she'll be back in full flow for it.
This will make you smile next.
Hey guys, welcome back welcome back to our YouTube channel, and as you can see we have Jody on our channel today. Yes, and we will be playing ABC Fast or Slow.
This is a Jamaican game.
And for the Australians who don't know, or other persons around the world, this game is like we have boy, girls, animal, place, things, food on our paper, and we're gonna say ABC Fast or Slow to Jody.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that is about, but that is Shamira Sterling and co. They're all in isolation together, so that's the fun part of the party you want to be at, right?
Of course it is. Who wouldn't want to be in isolation with those girls at the moment doing doing a great job on YouTube and keeping us entertained? Honestly, I think for this, netball are the most creative sports people out there. The players that I'm following and the things that I'm seeing online, absolutely brilliant. Keep it up, ballers.
Now, this is Tyler Sue, who I know you talk to a lot to on social media.
Yeah.
She's been innovative and created her own netball post with a coat hanger, a bag, and she's lobbing some socks in. Good effort, Tyler Sue.
Absolutely brilliant. That's what I'm doing on day 17.
And this is Karen Gregg, Manchester Thunder's finest coach, showing she still got it.
Of course, she still got it. She never lost it. Maybe we'll see a comeback, Barker.
Not from me. And I know this was sent to you as well. This is the game of netball pairs.
Yeah, genius.
And this is invented by Louise.
Bearing in mind, homeschooling for me at the moment with my 6-year-old, her favourite lesson she keeps pointing out is art. We will be doing that at some point next week.
Thank you, Louise, for showing us some netball pairs and everyone that's been created. Use the hashtag off the court. All right, we finished though with the Lou paper challenge, Lou roll paper challenge. Have you tried your hand at this?
Got mine ready. Right,
see if you can compare to this then. So look at this technique. I want you to commentate on this one if you can. This is Claire.
Oh, that is very, very impressive. The overhead, loop the loop, straight through the net. It's what we like to call a swish shot from the edge of the circle.
Let's have another look at that then. Great poise, stature, and then the release.
And look at the footwork there, perfectly balanced, perfectly bending the knees, and the flick and the push through at the end, a shot that Pamela Cookie would be proud of.
Now here is an experienced pro. We mentioned that Surrey Storm have been doing this brilliant toilet roll challenge where various players have got involved. The best from it has to be, and it's official, it says she needs her own YouTube channel. There is Nia Jones. She was measuring out the official distance as well. Don't think she quite won it. But that's still going on. Surrey Storm then using to full effect social media and also the lockdown at the moment to challenge all the teams. Having a go at that?
Yeah, well, I tried to sign up, but you know, I was in there too late, I think. But it's quarterfinals this weekend, isn't it? I've got my money on Hannah Passmore, youngster outsider from Bath, and of course Lucy Herdman, who was very impressive at Class 5. But if you don't follow Nia Jones, and as I've been saying about our creative netball players, she is one to follow on Twitter. Very entertaining.
Well, talking of entertaining, there's someone that needs entertaining right there. Thank you, Tamsin Greenway. As always, use the hashtag off the court to get in touch. Anything else you'd like to report on?
No, I'm going for it. So close.
I hope that artwork wasn't expensive behind. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.